In case you've been living under a rock, Pokemon Day is just a few days around the corner. It marks the 30th anniversary of Pokemon the series. And today we're going to talk about why its latest release is maybe a bad thing. Okay, so just a few days ago, Pokemon announced they were going to be re-releasing FireRed and LeafGreen on the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. Now, this is cool for a lot of reasons, but today we're going to talk about why I think overall this may be something very bad. Initially speaking, it's cool, right? We get finally a Game Boy Advance title, and I would say one of the more modern ones, right? It's towards the end of the Advance life cycle. It's just before we make the jump to 3DS, we finally get it on the console. I'm really excited for this, but here's the thing. FireRed LeafGreen, 22 years ago is when it's been out for almost as long as most of you have been alive, at least 2/3 of your life, and is just now making its way to the Switch 2. If you recall, in the past we had red, blue, yellow, crystal version, silver, and gold, all released on, what was it, the Wii? Or no, the 3DS. Okay, so great. All the GBA, or all the classic Game Boy games. This is the first Game Boy Advance Pokemon game that we have received. The only other ones we have, though, are Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. So, today's video, we're going to talk about the good things that are coming out of this, and then a lot of the bad ones. So in this regard, the good thing is obviously we get a modern experience for a classic Game Boy game. The bad thing is it's taking place in Kanto again. Now, FireRed and LeafGreen are great games, but we had Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu not too long ago. There's been this hyper obsession with Pokemon lately that if it has anything to do with previous games, it has everything to do with Kanto. I'm a long-time player of this series. I mean, it's basically the first game I ever played, and I'm excited to play this game again, but you could just as easily have ported the Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald games in addition to these two, because from what I can tell, the game itself is literally just a port. So there's no actual improvements, no enhancements, no like bug fixes or anything. There's no add-ons, anything of that regard. It's just a straight port of the original game. They even say this in a lot of their marketing, is that it's just like the game was played back in the day, as intended, yada, yada, yada. There are a lot of bugs in this game that maybe a lot of people don't know of, but a couple of them are pretty nasty, and especially the one in regards to the legendary beasts. If you don't know, you can actually catch Raikou, Suicune, or Entei, depending on which starter you pick. If you pick Charmander, you'll get Suicune. If you picked Squirtle, you'll get Raikou, etc. Right? It's the opposite of your starter. But in the game, if that legendary dog actually uses the move Roar and flees the battle, you can never catch it again. This is not an intended feature. This is a bug. This is most likely still going to be in the game. I don't personally find that a straight up port is exactly what we needed. I mean, look, yes it is, but the problem with this being is, I think overall the price is $20, okay? So for $20, you get a game that you technically can play right now. And I'm not talking about an original cartridge. I'm talking about illegally. Obviously, it's not recommended that you do that. That is illegal. That is piracy, and you should not do that. But you can. And that's kind of the issue here. And you'll look online, and it's pretty prevalent across the board that people are just, in general, not pleased with the price. I could have seen $10, $15 at most, but $20 is pretty gross. That being said, I will still buy this game because I crave the old experiences without having to play them on my Game Boy SP or Game Boy Advance. My SP won't hold a charge. My Advance is, well, the screen's terrible, right? Yes, I can modify them. I can throw in better screens, yada, yada, yada. But overall, it's still really cool to be able to play this on a larger screen, a larger display. It's not a ROM. In the future, hopefully, it'll be connected to Pokemon Home. That's another talking point. We're probably not going to get into too deeply, but basically Home is going to be added so you can transfer your Pokemon out, not in, but out of FireRed and LeafGreen to Pokemon Home. And as far as I know, they have not entirely implemented that yet. We'll see. Now, another good thing is that this, to me, is a test, right? They want to see, are people willing to, or well, rather, not are they willing, but are they going to pay a premium price to have these old experiences? Because if this game sells like I think it will at $20, that's them saying or seeing, looks like, yeah, people really are hungry for this. It's not like everyone's been calling and crying for this for years. It's not a surprise, but there's a huge group of people that will just use the ROM hack for this, and they're not actually going to buy the game. They don't see the value in actually owning the game. Now, as it stands currently, the version that you can download is digital download only. There is no physical version. I do believe there has been some rumors that a physical version will be released, but I don't honestly know a whole lot about that. Now, the bad part about this is that if this does sell for this price, that you can pretty much assume that any other ports we see in the future will be at least $20. It's highly unlikely that they are going to port the game and sell it for the $10, $15 that we think it's probably valued at. This is going to be proof to them. Now, there's two sides of that coin. A, if they make a ton of money doing this, there's a higher likelihood that they're going to keep doing it. If this completely blows up in their face, I don't know that they're going to see that it's even worth porting it for $10. You have to figure Pokemon, and we'll just take Nintendo out of the equation. We already know about Nintendo, but Pokemon as a company makes a insane amount of money. They don't really care about, I mean, I say they don't care, but let's say they sell 1 million copies for $10. They know that if they can sell 1 million copies for $10, they can sell 1 million copies for $20. I don't think that, given the state of how people are so hungry for more in this franchise, they think for 1 second that this game won't sell like crazy. And there's a part of me that hopes that it does, because I want more ports in the future, but at the same time, it is pretty brutal to see them charging $20. And yeah, it's not that much, but it's sort of a principle, right? $20 for a 22-year-old game when there are similar titles, Game Boy Advance games, that sell for less than $10. So it just feels like we're paying the Pokemon tax yet again, because they know we will. A while ago, I had a theory about the future of ROMs or any games that would take us back to previous generations, like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did. Now, I think a lot of people would love to see a Let's Go Johto, but I don't. Here's why I think that's entirely unlikely to happen. A, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee take place in Kanto, correct? Well, if you remember Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the Johto games, you actually go back to Kanto. So if they were going to make a game in that variety, which, let's be honest, it was a tie-in for Pokemon Go, it's probably not going to happen. But if they did make something in that vein, they would either A, completely tank their sales for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, right? Because if you're playing the Johto version, you can play Johto and Kanto. What's the point of playing the one that just offers Kanto? They're not going to take the time to develop a newer version of that, right? So at best, we get the Johto version that would have the Eevee, Pikachu, Kanto region bundled in, but that's not going to happen. They have zero care about what would be genuinely awesome and make fans happy, because again, they know us by now better than anyone, that we're going to buy whatever it is they sell us. So sort of to bring that all together, the fact that Pokemon in general does not like to take risks, the fact that we're getting FireRed and LeafGreen before the Pokemon Day presents, well, rather they're releasing it before, you can't actually play it until the day of, makes me think that A, this is either a test to see how it sells, or B, that is our like shadow drop, right? But this is a more of a tinfoil hat thought that I've had. But so there's this big speculation that we get some sort of classic collection shadow drop the day of. Okay, so if LeafGreen FireRed is that version for us, that's going to really suck, because that's really all we're going to get day of. And I was thinking about it. So they allow you to pre-order the game right now. As of recording this video, you can pre-order the game. And I'm thinking, why would you allow pre-orders for a game that's coming out like a week later? And I'm thinking, what if, now this is a little wild, and this is probably not going to happen, but maybe, what if the game, they want people to go ahead and pre-order it now, so that day of, when the game's ready to go, they're planning on dropping something else that they want people to be able to get onto the eShop and get to without slamming the servers. I know it's a long shot, and I know it sounds ridiculous, and maybe there's some holes in that argument or that thought, but just think, if people get this game now, right? Like, let's say they had this all planned to release multiple games day of, and they're like, wait, what if people can't download the bigger release because this smaller release is getting in the way, and there's like this conflict, right? You two products at the same time, people are going to pick, oh, do I want 20 here or 20 here or 40 here or whatever. People are already going to go ahead and pre-order this game if they think they're going to want it, you know? So hopefully that is like some crazy deep down the rabbit hole scenario. I don't think that's likely, but it is a thought that I had, and I'm just going to remain hopeful that this isn't a complete bust. The 30th anniversary is a huge milestone. The Pokemon company is making more money than they ever have, obviously, with the cards, even the games. I mean, Scarlet and Violet was one of the best-selling games I think they've ever had, despite its horrible state. I really don't know what to think. I mean, I think overall, I'm glad that they're porting these games, but I think it does not bode well for us because A, they're going to charge us $20 each time, if not more. B, I doubt very highly we're going to get any Johto remakes. If anything, we're going to get the Gen 3 remakes, which would be cool, and I support that, but no Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or anything similar to that. I don't think we're going back to Johto anytime soon, and at least not in a new way. So between the price choice, the fact that they're just straight up porting it and there's no improvements, no enhancements, there's no online, you can do local co-op, but like you could do that originally. So there's a lot of details surrounding this that I don't think are going to make a ton of people happy. And it's not one of those moments where like, yes, finally we get one of the classic games, not the old, but like a somewhat newer classic game on modern consoles, on modern hardware. But unfortunately, it's kind of been sullied by this price debacle. The timing is weird. People really don't know what to make of this, and I'm kind of at a loss myself. I really don't know what to say. But hopefully I'm wrong about all this, and hopefully we get something really cool in a couple of days. But until then, we'll just have to wait. But anyways, folks, that's pretty much it for today. I just kind of wanted to touch on this because it's something that I care about deeply, and I have some thoughts. So hopefully, if everything goes as planned, we'll get something nice. If not, I will be downloading at least one of the games, and I would like to stream it. I don't know if I'll do a full stream, but if I end up shiny hunting, that may be something we end up doing, especially if we shiny hunt for the starters, which I don't know. That's a risky one. Might take my entire life to achieve. But anyways, thank you again, folks. I appreciate you guys so much. The channel's been doing really well. I've been surprised to see people tuning into these sort of offshoot videos outside of my regular content. I'm glad to see it. So thanks again. As always, I love you. I will see you in the next one. Adios.